Hello there, my name is Bill Johnson, and I'm really pleased to announce the launch of my new online store, Featherweight Guy. I specialize in the meticulous restoration of Singer Model 221 featherweights. Also some other Singer vintage models as well, but the focus is on the featherweight. I absolutely love these machines. I think they are stunningly beautiful to look at. The mechanical design is beautiful. The quality of manufacture is beautiful. And for many of people who love to sew, sewing on a Singer featherweight is a beautiful experience. And it's really a rare combination to have beauty at all levels like that. And to me, the featherweight is a real triumph. If you know anything about the history of sewing machines, you may know that sewing machines became widely available for home use, domestic use as it's called, right after the Civil War in the late 1860s. And that's largely due to the success of Isaac Merritt Singer and his namesake company. And the machines continued to improve, get better and better, perform better up through the 1920s. But through all that period, no sewing machine was what you might call portable. They were made of cast iron, they were very heavy. And even some models that were introduced with an attempt to make them more portable, smaller models like the Singer 99, which came out in 1911, were still made of cast iron, and they were still too heavy to be considered truly portable. But all of that changed with the introduction of the featherweight. Singer spent years perfecting this design. It represents the culmination of all the best engineering ideas that Singer had and accumulated through their manufacturing history starting in 1851. And it took them years to get their factories tooled up to produce this. It's made of cast aluminum rather than cast iron. And this machine, when it was introduced in 1933, came out at the height of the Great Depression. Unemployment in this country, the US, was at over 20% at the time this machine came out. And it was an expensive machine. It cost what it took an average working family several months of income to buy one of these. And you might not think that a machine so expensive being released at that time period would sell. But the Singer featherweight, I think, was recognized for the breakthrough that it really was. And it sold modestly at first, but it was continued to be manufactured up through the end of the 30s. There was an interruption during World War II. Production resumed in the mid-1940s and continued through the 1960s. And over that 37-year period of manufacture, it's believed that more than 3 million of these were made, which probably makes them one of the most successful sewing machine designs of all time. So you might ask why I'm interested in these things. I don't sew. I did sew down parka from a Frostline kit when I was in high school, but I did grow up in a home where sewing was a big deal. My mother loved to sew. She sewed virtually all of the clothes that my 4 older sisters wore until they were adolescents. And in 1955, my mother bought a Singer featherweight. And the reason she bought it is that she wanted a portable machine to take with us on our annual vacation to the beach in the summertime so that she could continue to sew even on vacation. And, my wife also loves to sew. She is now retired and able to spend more time at her machines, a mix of modern and vintage machines. I've enjoyed working on mechanical things since I was a young boy. Over the course of my lifetime, I've worked on a great many things. But what I especially enjoy is restoring high-quality old things. For the past 20 or so years, I've had a hobby of restoring antique clocks. That's been very, very satisfying to me, but we're now overrun with antique clocks to the point where I need to find a new home for some of these clocks now. So how did I get into sewing machines? Well, there's an interesting story there. About 30 years ago, my wife and I were at an antique flea market, and we found a treadle-powered Singer sewing machine in an oak parlor cabinet, which we both thought was quite nice looking. We brought that home and put it in the front hall where it sat unused for many years, serving mainly as a plant stand. But about 5 years ago, my wife decided that she wanted to learn how to sew on a treadle sewing machine, and she asked me to get that machine working. So I brought it down here to this basement clock workshop, and took it apart. It's a 1923 Singer Model 66 Red Eye, and as I began working on it, I was amazed at the quality of construction. I was amazed at how good the engineering was in it. And most of all, I was amazed at how silky smooth the action was on it. We were soon hooked, and my wife and I began building a collection of vintage sewing machines. And once our collection grew too large, I began restoring sewing machines for other people, starting mostly with friends and family. And one of the machines I restored is that 1955 Featherweight that my mother had bought to take on vacation. It's now in the hands of our middle daughter, who's very pleased that she has her grandmother's portable sewing machine. What I love about the vintage sewing machines in general, and the Singer Featherweight in particular, is what they represent. They represent an era where quality was paramount. People in the Great Depression were spending very hard-earned money and would only spend it on things that would have lasting value, things that were high quality. And that focus on quality aligns perfectly with my personal values. I'm a perfectionist. I take no shortcuts. I set very high standards for myself. I want everything to be just so. And when I work on one of these machines, I don't even keep track of my time because that's not important to me. What's important to me is that I get it right and that the work that I complete represents the best that it can be and is faithful to the tradition of high quality that Singer produced when these machines first came out. I do want to close with a few shout outs of people that have helped me on this sewing machine journey. First, Bob Fowler, whose excellent YouTube channel has been a great resource to me. Bob is very generous about sharing what he knows about vintage sewing machines, and he's also very responsive to your emails. So thank you, Bob, for everything you do. You and I actually have a lot in common. I also want to thank Jen from Sewing Machine Rehab. Jen is actually the person who gave me the nudge I needed to set up and launch Featherweight Guy. Jen, thank you. You're the best. And I also finally want to thank the folks in Idaho at the Featherweight Shop. Those people have done probably more to promote the community of featherweight lovers than anyone else. And I'm really pleased that I have a source for high quality Singer featherweight parts and supplies through the Featherweight Shop. And finally, I want to thank all of you for your patience as I went through this overly long introduction. But hey, I had a lot to tell you. Thank you.